Hey, everybody, it's Ron Johnson, and this is the Ron Johnson Show on Locked On Sports Minnesota. Is the Grinch in town messing with the Minnesota Vikings Christmas? Let's talk about it. J.J. McCarthy, Max Brosmer. I don't know what you're looking forward to, but we'll talk about that next, coming up on the Ron Johnson Show.
Locked On Sports Minnesota podcasts. It's endless Minnesota Vikings talk with the diverse voices of your local experts. Now the Ron Johnson Show. On the field, in the broadcast booth, Ron Johnson is Minnesota sports. He's played with them, hung out with them, and grown up with all the big names in Minnesota sports. They're hanging out with Ron Johnson. It's the Ron Johnson Show on the Locked On Sports Minnesota podcast. And it starts now.
Hey, everybody, it's Ron Johnson, and this is a snowy, cold Tuesday, but it's almost time for Christmas, people, so have some cheer. I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody out there. I hope you guys are going to have a great one with your family. For those that are excited about the Minnesota Vikings game, whether J.J. McCarthy or Max Brosmer quarterbacks, welcome to the Ron Johnson Show. I'm Ron Johnson, your host. This is Locked On Sports Minnesota, and before we jump into the show, just know, if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. And again, remember, go to FanDuel.com. You can also jump on the app as well. I've done it a bunch whenever I travel out of town, and it is awesome. It makes every single basketball games, everything. It makes it so much better. I love the basketball parlays. I love the prop bets. It just keeps the game moving fast. But as I bring my producer to the show, Sam Ekstrom, my co-host, Sam, we're going to talk about the Detroit Lions coming to town. And the Grinch, it's that time of year, Sam. It's the Grinch season, and everybody's talking about the Grinch. And here's where I go with this, Sam. The Grinch represents two sides of the world, right? There's the Detroit Lions world. They feel like Christmas has already been taken from them because of the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? They feel like they were cheated. They feel like, the touchdown that should have counted was not offensive pass interference. And I kind of agree, because it looks like the safety created the contact and the DB pushed the receiver into the like he wasn't like he was running to the guy. He was like literally like standing like this, like trying to get out the way, and he got pushed. A wide open touchdown. Smart play by the defender. Realized look, I have no chance of getting over there. Let me just run into this guy and hope the refs call something. But then you got this other side of the coin, right? If you're a Max Brosmer fan and family member and Gopher, this is Christmas miracle, right? This is like what you wanted for Christmas. This is an angel is about, when Max Brosmer starts, an angel is going to get his wings, according to some people. The other side of the coin is, if you're a J.J. McCarthy fan and you've been wanting to see what he's going to do these last two games, the Grinch has surely come and stole your Christmas. And so that's where I start with that, Sam. Like, we can't look at this as 100% negative. There are some people that are extremely excited to see Max Brosmer. For those watching on YouTube, you see what I'm rocking today, right? I'm in support of Max Brosmer. I think, like the story of the Bible, right, Sam? It's all about redemption. This is a story of redemption. Every hero has a redemptive story, right? Batman, Iron Man, everybody does something crazy and then they can redeem themselves. Like, Robert Downey Jr. And I'm not going to ruin it for people that haven't seen all the Avengers, but Robert Downey Jr. is considered like a playboy, philanthropist, billionaire, doesn't care about anybody but himself. And then he does a selfless act in one of his movies that will go down in the history of moviedom. And Sam, by the way, do you know what he did? I'm not going to say what he did, and you don't have to say what he did if you know. Do you know what he did to redeem himself as not being selfish?
Really. Not
Okay.
really. I mean, I
You have
like,
not seen the very last Avengers?
I've seen none of the Avengers. So
Okay.
I've
Sam,
got
so
a
you have
little
no
bit of
idea.
work to do. I've got a little bit of work to do.
What
I've
else
seen Iron Man original. I do know who Tony Stark is.
So, Sam, I'm not going to ruin it for people that haven't watched it yet. But, yeah, when you're on the road, just, download it on Netflix or whatever. Just watch it on the road if you ever have time. They're long, 2.5, 3 hours. But he has a redemptive quality at the end that redeems himself. Max Brosmer has a chance to redeem himself, Sam. So if we are saying Max Brosmer is the quarterback, he is playing for his future. He's playing to say, can you be a backup next year if J.J. McCarthy gets hurt again? Because what is 4 injuries in one season for McCarthy? You got the ankle, you got the you got the knee from last year, but you got the ankle, you got the concussion, you got the hand scar, and now you have the hand again. Was there one I'm missing? Is there another one I'm missing?
I think you got them all. He hurt the hand earlier in the season.
Which was
different
the
injury.
Band-Aid, yeah.
I think, right, yeah, and this is now a separate hand injury. So it's 4 this year and then the knee last year.
So that's a lot in 2 seasons in the NFL, right? Whereas he was primarily, I don't know, I wasn't a Michigan follower, but I'm pretty sure he was healthy. Now, again, he wasn't put in harm's way because they ran the ball. But that's a lot of injuries in 2 years. And so your thought is, okay, if we're going to have this injury laden, I guess you want to say, or injury caliber quarterback, we got it. Because he plays wild. He dives head first. He's, he doesn't want to just slide, all the other stuff, right? Some people are saying it's safer to go head first because defenders aren't able to really get a clean lick on you. Like you don't slide late and then you don't take the concussion hit and you're vulnerable. You don't slide and jam your knee into the turf. There's all kinds of reasoning behind that. And there's a bunch of quarterbacks that go head first too. I think they go down sooner than McCarthy, like Brock Purdy. But McCarthy still does it, right? He still says, I'm a football player. He puts the cold sleeve on. He does all this stuff. But Max Brosmer is playing to decide if J.J. McCarthy goes down, can we put Max Brosmer in and win games? Now, he did just come in as a reliever. That's right, reliever. Save the game, you're a reliever. He came in as a reliever.
Baseball.
Yeah, I'm like, there's not a saver in baseball, just reliever. He came in as a reliever and saved the game. He won the game. I think he went 7 for 9. I have to go back at the stats, but, pretty, like the third down dagger to Justin Jefferson, like that was absolutely, and I had the numbers, that was absolutely bonkers. Nope, that's not it.
The throw to Jefferson was absolutely phenomenal. For the game, he went 7 of 9, 52 yards. To my memory, didn't make a real dangerous throw at all. He was in control.
And that's the thing. I remember all third downs. So I had the J.J. McCarthy third downs, and then I had the Max Brosmer third downs. And when you look at the Max Brosmer third downs, way better than Seattle. Way better than Seattle. The throw to Justin Jefferson on the corner route alone, way better. So again, I think the game slowed down for him a little bit. I think he was a little bit more and maybe he wasn't, because we talked about the start in Seattle. Everybody made a big deal about Max Brosmer getting on the bus and being loose. And, he's the first person out there on the field 2 hours or whatever early, and, he's taking in the moment and he's did it. I just think the build up, sometimes you build up to this like Christmas morning, right? And it doesn't go the way you thought it was going to go because you put everything was supposed to be perfect. And the cookies didn't come out right. And Santa, didn't come down the chimney because the fire was going all night and grandpa forgot to turn, there's all kinds of things, Cindy Lou, she wakes up, all the food's gone. You can build up so much to that moment. And then one bad thing happens after the next. And one of them was Max Brosmer trying not to take a sack, thinking he wasn't going to be in field goal range. He still was in field goal range and he throws an absolute just, what are you doing pass? And that's the toughest thing is I hope he redeems himself. Again, this is one of those Christmas miracles because now everybody that talked about, Brosmer became a verb on the Pat McAfee show, right? When they were talking about backup quarterbacks playing, they were like,
yeah,
I hope he doesn't Brosmer the bit. It's like, oh Lord, come on. You got to fix this, right? But he has a chance and it's Christmas. So that means 3:30, everybody in America that watches Netflix football will be watching this game. I will be down there on the field trying to get video. The crazy thing, Sam, is we were talking to Max Brosmer before the world was, right? We cared about Max Brosmer before everybody else did. I hope he realizes that, right? I hope he understands how much we really cared about him compared to everybody else. Maybe I'll ask him, see if we can get him on Tuesday before the next game. But I know, his agent representation talked about, how he has a schedule he has to stick to and he wants to do this. And he was the fourth quarterback, right, Sam, when we were getting that. He has a schedule and he wants to stick to this and blah, blah. It's he's the fourth quarterback, but that's how he prepares. That's where he's going, right? He's that dialed in no matter if he's 4, if he's 1. And my guess is tomorrow or today. So yesterday's practice didn't happen. Today's practice is going to potentially be like a walkthrough type because, again, they're just trying to get to Thursday healthy. Wednesday is going to be another walkthrough, and we'll get, is J.J. McCarthy out there in the walkthrough? Is he gripping the ball? Can he grip the ball? Is he going to have to wear some type of claw thing to keep his tendon, whatever it is, if it's because they said x-rays were negative. So meaning it's probably just really sore now. Like now you just have to wait for the swelling to go down and so on and so forth. Because that happened to me. Like that happened to me where I didn't have any broken bones, but it still is hard to grip with my left hand and it still hurts. Like it hurts when I hit it still. So it's just one of those things where like a tendon might have got stretched too far. Something happened, a bruise that like is messing with a nerve. Because when they touched it, Sam, we saw him wince, right? But heading into this Lions game, the Lions have to win in order to continue their season. The Vikings can ruin the Lions' season. Sam, is that enough incentive for the Vikings to go out and still put the best brand of football we've ever seen out there?
Yeah, I think so. It's a division game. It's a team that you've already beaten this year. It's a team that you've developed a good rivalry with, and they've been the mark to shoot at in the NFC North for the past few years. Not this year so much, but getting to play spoiler, you got to basically bury the Cowboys. Now, who can you add to the list? You can literally plant the dagger into the Lions season. They will walk off the field eliminated if you win this game. And actually, Ron, you would jump them in the standings. How crazy is that? You would move into third. You'd both be 8-8. That would be insane for where these teams were at a month ago.
And that's the conversation we have now, Sam. Bigger conversation. Do you really want to be third? Do you?
Not really.
Because now you're getting the third place teams in the and again, that's a loser mentality. I know that, people, for those listening, people right away heard me say that and they're like, oh, that's a loser mentality. It is. But you have a better chance next year of having a better season if you finish fourth, right? Because the only other way to finish fourth would be they beat the Lions, they lose to the Packers. No, because even if the Lions beat the Bears and the Vikings lose, oh yeah, the Vikings will be 8-9. So that still will put the Lions back ahead. Yeah, so you could do that. You could beat the Lions just to do it and then lose to the Packers because it's the last game of the year and nobody's really playing. But when you think about like the current, so here's the thing, Sam, it's not that bad depending on, and I haven't looked to see if they get the AFC. I don't know which do you know which AFC teams they get? I haven't looked at that yet. I don't even know if they've named that.
Yeah. So they. We can probably figure this out. Who'd they play in 22? Because that's who they would play in 26. So in 2022, they played, that was the Buffalo year. So Buffalo, New England.
Okay.
Miami,
so they would get the
Jets.
Dolphins. They would get the Dolphins if they play. Oh, you mean they play the entire AFC East?
They play the entire AFC East division.
And then the other AFC, though, they have to play one more crossover because they get one
that
more.
Would either, and I don't know that, but that would either be the Browns, the Titans, or the Raiders. I think you would embrace any of those teams compared to the Bengals with Burrow, the Colts, or the Chiefs.
And that's where I go. You go because if you go third, you got the Bengals, Colts, or Chiefs, which are going to have a healthy Daniel Jones, versus Browns, Titans, Raiders. Right. And then Patriots, who knows if this is a flash in the pan. Buffalo Bills are going to be good. Dolphins are not going to be good. They're probably going to be looking for a new coach potentially. And the Jets are not going to be good. So, kind of working in your favor. And then when you look at the NFC, same thing. You would have the Falcons, the Rams, and the Commanders are in third place right now. So, again, Falcons probably get Penix back. I don't know if Kirk Cousins is the long-term answer. Rams are really good. But then you could also, if you stay fourth, you would have Cardinals, Saints, Giants. So,
catch-22 here.
It's a catch-22, Sam. I mean, honestly, I think winning against the Lions to be competitive, right? 8-8, you get a little glimmer of hope. You make Christmas great for everybody that, bought tickets for their kids for Christmas. Because, there's going to be some videos out there, Sam, on Christmas morning because the game's out to 3:30. So Christmas morning, kids sitting by the fire, by the tree. Gifts aren't maybe what they thought they were going to be. So you got if a kid has a sad face because they didn't get what they thought they were going to be, and then you give them the Vikings tickets and they cheer, I'm probably still going to be like, okay, you guys aren't grateful. Like, you are very ungrateful kids. Like, be happy with whatever you get. But, maybe the kids go to their stocking stuffer and they grab their stocking. They're having hot cocoa in the morning, and boom, paper tickets come out. And they're like, wait, what is this? What is this? Oh, my God. And it's like a jersey or something in there. And it's open the jersey up. It's Justin Jefferson. And guess what? We're going to the game today. And, the kids all are screaming and blah, blah. And, there's going to be that. So let's see if they can beat the Lions, make all these people that pick Christmas, as a gift for their family a long time ago. Because this probably was planned out a long time ago. Like, hey, let's go to the Vikings game for Christmas. And, whatever the price was, they're like, look, that's going to be 2 of their gifts. Like, let's just do that. We'll get them a jersey and we'll get them a ticket. That's 2 gifts there. And then we'll get them one more big gift and we're done. Because that is a nice Christmas. That's very nice Christmas. But then they could still lose to the Packers and the Lions. Because here's the thing. If they lose to the Packers and the Lions lose to the Bears, then the Vikings are still in 3rd place. Sam?
And you know what, Ron? If the Vikings win against Detroit, if I'm not mistaken, the Packers are in. And the Packers then don't really have much incentive in Week 18 because right now Green Bay is in the 7th seed and they're 2 games behind the 6th seed. So they're not going to move up or down. So I think if you beat the Lions, suddenly the Packers game means nothing to Green Bay and nothing to Minnesota. So that could go either way. But
is there any chance the Bears? Was there any chance the Bears won't? Yeah, they're probably not playing Jordan Love. Well,
he's got a concussion right now.
I was gonna say if he clears concussion protocol, 1, then 2, if you're in and there's nowhere you can go, you don't probably play him in the last game just to make sure he doesn't, relapse. But I was gonna say my question to you was gonna be when you look at that though, right? When you look at the Lions. Bears, is there anything the Bears could do to rest their players against the Lions? Meaning the Lions have an easy chance to win that game because the Bears are like, look, we're not going to get first, and we're kind of stuck where we are.
Well, the Bears could wrap up the division if they beat the 49ers Sunday Night Football. So the Bears would win the division, and then they'd rest against Detroit, I think. Then again, seeding is in play. I mean, they got the Eagles are right behind them. The Seahawks are in front of them.
Because I say the Seahawks are in front of them at 12-3, and so it depends on how the Seahawks. Well, and the Seahawks play the Rams, so that's what's crazy about this, right? No, or did they just play? No, they just played the Rams. They play the Niners.
49ers could pass the Seahawks.
Oh man, yeah, this is crazy because they're 11-4. Yeah, they beat the Seahawks. The Niners jump. So, yeah, so the Bears are still kind of looking like, if we win out 13-3 and the Seahawks, 49ers, or Eagles don't do anything, yeah, then they could get the number 1 seed. So, yeah, they're still going to play to beat the Lions. So, there's still a chance. There's still a chance. If the Vikings can win and then lose and the Lions win against the Bears, they would get 3rd place. But, yeah, at the end of the day, though, Sam, 1, I want Max Brosmer to win a game. I want him to, look good because that last outing was bad. So this is going to be redemption time for him. When you look at this Lions team, so let's just do a little Lions before we get here, like 1-2 minutes. When you look at this Lions team, Sam, the one thing that scares me about the Lions, right, is their run game. And now you have so many guys that are pretty much like, if I can't go, I'm not going. You know what I mean? Like there's no more pushing through injury with this team. You could see that by Metellus. You could see that with Grenard, like a lot of guys. And I don't think, honestly, even if they were still going to make the playoffs, I don't think Grenard could have won. I think Metellus probably could have. I think Grenard, that last whatever happened, that thing just really just came out or whatever happened. It looked like, because he looked like in pain. Like the minute it happened midair, you could see him clench it back and fall. Like he had whatever he did, it was like, I'm done. But I just feel like more guys are but Jalen Redmond, like Ivan Pace was out there, Eric Wilson, like guys are still playing hard and looking good. And that's the other part of this. That's like, man, these guys are still out there looking good. And I just wonder though, like run game, that's where the Lions really set themselves apart. And that's where the Vikings this season has struggled. Like when you think about the Falcons game of dropping the run, does that worry about the Lions that they could go into this mode of like, let's just run the ball down their throat on Christmas Day?
Well, ironically, that's what the Vikings stopped really well when they beat him in Week 9. Gibbs was held to 9 carries, 25 yards. Montgomery, 11 carries, 40 yards. Out of nowhere,
But do you think Grenard being out? Do you think Grenard and Metellus as well? Metellus is a run stopper. Like he's he's not a pass stopper. That's why he was always in the box as a linebacker. I think he's suited better in the box. Now you have Theo Jackson. I don't know if Theo Jackson has the same impact in the box as Josh Metellus did. And again, you see Cam Bynum. He's better at roaming the back end. So you put Cam Bynum with Harrison Smith, and Josh Metellus is a true run stopper, cover the tight end type of guy. He can't do that as much this year because he's kind of been the main safety with Harrison Smith. And I think that's why we haven't seen the Josh Metellus flashes that we saw last year. And injury probably is a little bit a part of it. But that's why I want to ask you that. Like, they did stop him then, but can they replicate it?
That'd be hard. That's going to be hard to do 2 times in a season. I would be pretty comfortable if the Vikings play one of those games, kind of like they did against Dallas, where they give up a lot of yards, they bend in the middle of the field. But if they can just bear down in the red zone, and they're the number 1 red zone defense right now, Ron, number 1 in football. If they can just hold the Lions to field goal attempts, I'm more than okay with that. Just keep them out of the end zone. This pass defense hasn't given up a passing touchdown in 6 games. So Brian Flores has something good working. He's working with Fabian Moreau and Theo Jackson, and they're getting results in the secondary. So if they give up some yards on the ground, that's not the end of the world to me. You just got to keep them out of the end zone.
Well, you said something there that triggered me, Sam. You said Brian Flores has something going. So I got something where he's going to go, or it's also going with Brian Flores, and we'll talk about that next coming up on the Ron Johnson Show after a quick word from our sponsors.
And our sponsor today, like they are every day, it's FanDuel. The NFL Sundays, they move fast. The NFL season's moving fast. Only 2 regular season Sundays left. One big play can change everything. FanDuel offers live wagering options really in every facet of the game. It might be player props like receiving yards. Maybe Justin Jefferson has a live line that's looking a little low. You feel like he's going to explode in the second half. You can take the over live props. You've got the live spreads and live money lines if you're betting the result of the game. Also, the next touchdown scorers. You've got your Spidey sense. You feel like Jahmyr Gibbs is going to bust one free. You can bet the next touchdown scorer for some great odds. Next drive, team totals, all available, live wagering, FanDuel.com. Be right in the middle of the action. You're reacting to the game as it happens, FanDuel.com. Place your NFL live bets all season long. 2 weeks left to do it in the regular season, and then the playoffs. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you.
Well, Sam, I don't know if you watched the 49ers game last night, but I did. Did you watch it before I jumped
watched
into that?
a good chunk of it, yep.
So I want to start here. I don't know how Phillip Rivers is making these throws because it looks horrible. Like his throwing motion looks bad. It looks even worse. Like it was always bad. Yeah, it looks so stiff. It looks very bad. But it works. Like he's making throws. Like the fade route to 14 Pierce. It was not like a good throw. They were like, oh, he threw it inside. I think it was just a bad throw, and Alec Pierce just happened to see it and realize like, oh, wait. And the DB was thinking like, where does a fade go? A fade goes outside, so I'm going to stay outside. And the DB was watching the receiver, not the ball, because if he played the ball, it's an interception. He just runs inside, catches it. Everybody's talking about biggest play of the game or, biggest gain of the game, but it was a terrible throw. One of his touchdowns, same thing. Terrible throw. His interception. Now, it was kind of cool to see Luke Kuechly know the code word Orlando, what the play was. Because everybody's saying Luke Kuechly diagnosed the play. He just knew what Orlando was because he heard Orlando before, and that's what they ran, and he remembered it, but again, still a great memory for a linebacker because that's why, greats like him, Ray Lewis, I'm guessing Mike Singletary back in his day, great linebackers are good at that. They just know a call. I mean, we've heard Ed Reed and Tom Brady talk about that where Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, saying they tried to set Ed Reed up with like a route and Ed Reed acted like he was going to run with the post and flipped his hips without even seeing the throw, knowing it was going to go outside because he said, well, you run a post through here, I know you got a wheel route behind it. And Ed Reed turned, jumps it. Peyton Manning's like, I can't believe you figured that out. And he's like, yeah, I blah, 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 watch film and so on and so forth. But when you see Phillip Rivers throw the ball, it's kind of bad But going to Robert Saleh, Sam, at some point in the broadcast, they talked about Robert Saleh was going to be on the short list of every, owner looking for a head coach. He's going to be at a lot of interviews this year. He's going to be hot on the interview circuit, as they said. I think Brian Flores will do it as well. I think Brian Flores will be called. I think Brian Flores will be, because you brought up, number one red zone defense. When you look at the other metrics, they haven't had the turnovers this year. But I feel like he's doing less with more. He's getting a ton out of Dallas Turner. He's getting a ton out of Jalen Redmond. Nobody expected Jalen Redmond to be what he is. He turned the two old dogs and taught him some new tricks with Hargrave and Allen. He's got Eric Wilson playing at a Pro Bowl level at times. I think owners are seeing that and they're like, man, what could he do with our starters? Like, what could he do with our guys? Like, could Brian Flores come in here and change it up? But here's the problem. The government has approved the case to go through, or at least to be pursued if he would like to. The Miami Dolphins are the team that he's going after. There's some other collusion in there. Sam, we've seen collusion stuff before, right? Cardinals, that got deemed. Yep, that was. They were doing wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Our guy Brian McKinney, right? When he was getting drafted, he sued, brought up collusion and that the owners were trying to hold his contract back based off other teams, and these guys were talking, right? We've heard that word before with owners talking and they're not supposed to talk. Collusion. I don't know if there's an owner out there, Sam, who is going to take the chance on pissing off the Miami Dolphins owner, right? Unless you just don't care. So, think about when owners don't care about another owner anymore. When the Carolina Panthers owner went too far with his secretaries or whatever, with the foot rubs and stuff, all the owners turned on him. Yep, you got to sell the team. Get out of here. When Snyder, I don't know what Snyder did, but all the owners turned on him. Because originally, it was like, oh, no, you can't buy the Commanders team. This is Steve Snyder's, Steve Snyder's team. We're not. Whatever he did, Sam, it was big, right? And all the other owners are like, yep, we approve the sale. You can sell it. Get out of here. And, Magic Johnson and that team of guys came in and they bought the Commanders. It's one thing when the owners are for you, and it's another thing when they're against you. When those powerful billionaires want to get you out, they'll get you out. And so that's where I wonder, I guess the Dolphins, and honestly, think about it, Sam, the Dolphins owners have been really quiet, even through the Mike McDonald stuff going on right now. They're not saying anything. They're not saying
Daniel.
McDaniel. Mike McDaniel. Mike McDonald is with Seahawks, right?
Coach of the Seahawks, right?
Too many McDonald's, McDaniels, and Daniels, and come on. But Mike McDaniels, the owners haven't said anything. Normally when it's a hot seat situation, like with the Steelers, the owners came out and said, "Oh no, Mike Tomlin's our coach. Dude has never lost a season. What are those out there for us? Well, how much better can we get? We're winning every season. Going to the Super Bowl is rare. I think they got 5 or 6 of them. Going to the Super Bowl is rare. Winning a Super Bowl is rare. Just ask the Minnesota Vikings. Just ask the Detroit Lions. It's rare. It's one of those things that when you look at the owners, is Brian Flores worthy of the job? And will there come with stipulations, Sam? That's where I wonder is if he interviews, and I don't know if an owner would do this because then your name is out there that you were the team that said this. If we hire you, are you willing to drop the suit with the Dolphins owner? That could be presented, and I don't know how Flores would take that. My guess is not great, but I just wonder.
That's a sticky situation, and you're right, Ron. If I'm making the decision as the team, this is what I'm nervous about. If he goes to court,
mm-hmm.
What happens in court? Testimony,
correct,
cross-examination.
Yep.
The gloves are off.
Mm-hmm.
So we could have Flores saying incriminating things about owners or in his experience with owners.
Mm-hmm.
We could have owners fighting back and saying incriminating things about Brian Flores.
Mm-hmm.
So you're putting yourself, your decision at risk to immediately look bad if suddenly he goes to court and testimony is happening. That's why the NFL wants this behind closed doors. They don't want public testimony or
mm-hmm.
discovery. The things that maybe emails he's written
mm-hmm.
could get released. it opens the door for a bunch of ugliness. So that is absolutely valid, Ron, what you're saying, that a team would want that dropped.
Because Gruden, remember, his emails got released to get him out of there. Like, there's people, Snyder's emails, to get him out of there. Oh, that's what it was, Snyder's emails. I couldn't remember what it was, the emails. That's like, people are holding on to this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like these owners aren't getting private investigators to get dirt on their guys. It's like Succession is how you say it. I feel like it's like one of those. Yeah, it's the TV show on HBO. Yes. I think like Succession.
Succession. Yep.
Succession. I feel like it's one of those type of things, like Scandal, Succession, Landman. It's like one of those espionage type of situations behind the scenes, and they're just collecting data mining. Oh, well, what was this? Okay, let me put this file over here. Okay, let me just put this in the Commanders folder. Oh, wait. Oh, let me grab this and put this over in the Cardinals folder. Because remember the Cardinals, when they fired their GM went hell and brimstone. And it didn't matter, right? Everybody saw what he said. He said that when he was suspended and the head coach was supposed to be suspended, they had burner phones. The owners that gave them burner phones to be able to still communicate to the coaches, during the game. And it's like, because they tried to say he was a bad guy, the GM. Like, oh, he's a bad guy and he's a horrible person. And he's like, well, no, I'm not. You literally had burner phones and you asked us to still communicate with each other. So, and again, it went nowhere. Why? Because who's going to sue the owners? Like, the NFL probably came back secretly and said, all right, man, we got to find you guys $1 million. Pay a charity $1 million and then move on. For a billionaire, that's nothing. That's a drop in the bucket, right? That's a trip to wherever he's going for the week. But, there was probably some private reprimanding that took place between the owners because that news came out and they're like, look, we got to shut this down. We got to shut it up, man. Pay your GM. Pay him what you owe. Move on. And again, we've seen, we and I have talked about some stuff behind the scenes, not behind the scenes, kind of was public for a little bit with the Minnesota Vikings and all their drama for a little bit here this season. And Brian Flores' name came up in the drama. It got, quieted fairly quick. But even that stuff, like, I'm guessing when that went down, the Miami Dolphins probably were checking social media just like the rest of the world. Like, oh, wait, let me add this to the Brian Flores, list of stuff. Tua. Remember Tua's testimony saying Brian Flores was rude and mean and, picked on him. There's all kinds of stuff that are going to go down with this. And so that's going to be the question mark of how much of that is truth and how much of that is emotion. But yeah, honestly, Sam, like, do you want to be the owner that says, hey, Brian, I really want you? If we were to hire you, because they're going to say, like, hypothetically, man, if we were to hire you, would you then drop the collusion case? In his mind, that might feel like collusion. It might feel like the owners of the Dolphins are like, hey, can one of y'all please just hire him so that he'll drop it? That's what it feels like. But everybody in my mind, I thought he was going to be a Steelers head coach. I literally thought when the Rooneys brought him in, I thought they were going to say, Tomlin, walk out when you're ready. Flores, you're the head coach in waiting. And it still can happen. Like, Tomlin still can walk out on his own because that's the best way to go out. When you think about some of these coaches that get to choose, like Bruce Arians, that's the best way to go out. Like Andy Reid. Andy Reid's going to get to choose unless it goes really bad without Mahomes for a year. Because Mahomes is not coming back next year, I don't think. Like, there's no reason to come back week 15 unless the team's killing it. But then why would you break that chemistry down? Like Case Keenum might go out there and take you to the NFC or AFC Championship like he did the Vikings. But why would you do that? Why would you bring Mahomes back? So he's going to be out the whole year. So is Andy Reid has a 3-13 season, or is this all in the plan? Is this all in the plan for them to have a 3-13 season to them to be able to draft Arch Manning next year?
You're already burying Mahomes. You're moving on.
No, I'm just saying, because then Arch could sit for 4 years like Aaron Rodgers. and who would be a bigger proponent of sitting for a little bit than his big uncle and his other uncle? Well, both Eli and Peyton played right away. But, you know what I mean? Like, hey, in today's era, man, you might want to sit a little bit and watch these guys and make millions just being the backup. And then when Mahomes retires, after that $450 million contract is done, it's your turn. But, could be Arch. I don't know who else is out there. I think Dante Moore potentially is going to come out. I don't see why he would go back unless, what's his name? Phil Knight for Oregon. Phil Knight, the Nike guy, unless he just puts up a ton of money to make him stay, to realize, like, hey, this is not the year you want to come out because there's no teams that are good enough to really draft you and then rebuild right away. Where you could probably go to a team that's good but just missing their quarterback, like a Chiefs. So there's a lot of stuff out there that, we'll see. But when you think about Brian Flores, Sam, to kind of put a bow on that and get your take, I think he's going to get interviewed. I do. I think he's going to get the interviews because, again, it also sucks. Like, if you think about down the stretch, it's going to be the down the stretch defense because his defense is doing a lot of heavy lifting right now. Like, when you look at the number of interceptions and turnovers and things that have happened in some of these games, his defense is doing the heavy lifting because the offense is putting them back on the field fairly quick. But I just don't know if an owner is willing to go against another owner. Like, that's ballsy. That's ballsy to say, I don't care that you're suing the Dolphins. I don't care that they asked you to lose a game and they're willing to pay you $100,000 for every game you lost, and they said you keep your job. Like, and I do say this, Sam. Like, if they told you to do that, the Dolphins say, hey, $100,000 for every game you lose, and you'll still have your job next year. Would you do it? To go 0-16 or 1-15?
I'm a man of principle, Ron. You play to win the game. I just can't imagine Brian Flores dropping it. Can you? After he knew that it was going to be tough to have a lawsuit and coach in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And what year are we on of this? 3, 4? Like,
it's 3 or 4.
It's been a minute. I think this was going on before the Steelers hired him.
It was. That's why everybody was thinking the Steelers would hire him as head coach, because they're like, they don't care. Mm-hmm. That's the one team. Yeah. But I'm saying they don't have an open spot. So if Tomlin retired, I think the Steelers would take Flores. I think they would hire. I think they would interview and hire him. Because the Rooneys don't care. Like, the Rooney family, like, the coolest thing, and I gotta find it. I gotta tell my mom to find it before it gets lost. I have a picture when I had to be like 3 or 4, maybe 5 or 6. I have a picture sitting on the lap of Art Rooney. Because Art Rooney was in the locker room. Yeah, he was in the locker room for like a Christmas party, and the players got to bring their kids into the locker room for the Christmas party thing. And yeah, there's a picture of me sitting on Mr. Rooney's lap. I gotta find it though. I'm like, I didn't even think about how cool that is. Like, to have because I kind of want to get it framed now. I'm like, like when I was younger, I saw that. I'm like, okay, why am I wearing a leather outfit? It's. Like, why'd y'all put me in leather? But me and my sister both had on leather. Like, we had only these leather Christmas outfits. Like, mine was black, hers was red with fur. But like, now I'm looking back, like, that's cool. To have a video. I have a video of me playing catch with Mel Blount. Again, it's VHS, so I got to find a way to like just put it in a VCR, maybe hold my phone up and record it for social media to say, here's a video of me playing, catch with Mel Blount, and hanging around Franco Harris and. But yeah, sitting on Mr. Rooney's lap, like that's I'm like, man, that's cool. Like, that's like, he's like football immortality when you think about the Rooney Rule was created because they saw how guys like Tony Dungy and Denny Green were being treated, and they knew they were great coaches, and that was the cool thing. That's why I think that would be a team to say, you know what, I know what you went through. I believe these owners might have done that. We'll take you. We don't care. Our franchise, and again, it has to be a franchise that can sustain it, right? Blue collar town like Pittsburgh. Fans don't give a crap about the rest of the world. It feels like Pittsburgh is its own. Like, it does really feel like Gotham City. If you never watched the Batman movie, Sam, they actually had Hines Ward and some of the Steelers players playing for the Gotham football team. And it was
then
all
the field explodes.
And
right?
The field explodes. That was Hines Ward running the punt or kickoff back, and then look back and the whole field is gone. But yeah, it does feel like that. It feels like Pittsburgh is its own little area, right? Like, they don't care about all this stuff. They don't involve themselves in the problems of this world. They're like, look, we got Batman. We got the Rooneys. And that's where I feel like they'd be like, look, our fans don't care if we hire Brian Flores. Our fans don't care if the Dolphins are mad at us. Our fans love Mike Tomlin and what he brought to the city. We're going to hire the best candidate. And I think that's what it comes down to, the best candidate. But again, that's why Robert Saleh's going to get a chance. You know who should never get a chance again, Sam? Not never, but not for a while. Matt Nagy. I don't know why he keeps getting chances. His defense is terrible. Like, I don't know why they keep giving him chances. But he probably will. He'll probably get some interviews again. Like, somebody's going to request, hey, can we talk to Matt Nagy? Why? You saw his defense. You saw it. Belichick. Do you think Belichick will come back to the NFL just to screw the Patriots over, like to be really mad at them?
I mean, if I were Belichick, I would. I'd get back in as soon as I'd get out of the college rat race now.
Because he's not a great recruiter, and these kids, I mean, he's gotten a couple 5-star kids, but these kids are realizing that dude's just screaming at the clouds, and his girlfriend is running the team, and he just doesn't have it to be in this NIL world because it's in North Carolina, which is funny. Like Michael Jordan has he's a billionaire, but I'm guessing North Carolina's NIL goes to basketball due to Michael Jordan. Like I don't know if Michael Jordan cares to say, okay, here I'll give you 20, because everybody's like, man, we need a check for 20 million. We need a check for 20 million because they get 20 million from the NCAA, but that's the entire athletic department. Football is like, I need my own 20. Like I need my own 20 so I can go get me a $2 to $3 million quarterback. And then from there, I can sprinkle out, $1 million maybe to a really good receiver, a running back, $500,000 to a couple offensive linemen, boom, and like $20 million. That'll hold me for 2-3 years, and then every couple years, I need $20 million check. I gotta spread this out. I gotta get my quarterback. I gotta get this, and because the price tags are getting higher and higher for these quarterbacks, which Bryce Underwood is not worth $12 million if that's what he really got. He's not worth it, and that's why I think this is such a stupid thing to give guys that much money and they're not good. Like he's not that good. He's not that good. He's not $12 million good. Like that's more than NFL quarterbacks, and I don't think an NFL team right now would take Bryce Young right now. Like right now, I mean they would take him, but I don't think they would feel like we're getting the best product in college football. Dante Moore, yes. Him, no. But Brian Flores definitely deserves an opportunity. I hope he gets it. It would suck for the Minnesota Vikings because then that's our next show, Sam. Who is the defensive coordinator? Like, who do they go get? If Brian Flores does leave, who do they go get? You have built this 3-4 defense. So you got to go get – don't go get Ed Donatel. Don't do it. But you got to go get a 3-4 minded coach, right? Remember, Ed Donatel was the 3-4 minded coach when Zimmer considered going to a 3-4. But you can't do it with Danielle Hunter. You can't do a 3-4 with Danielle Hunter. That was the dumbest thing ever, and that's why it didn't work for Flores. It works for Gennard and Van Ginkel because they know how to play outside linebacker. But if they do lose Flores, you've built a 3-4 scheme. You've drafted a 3-4 scheme. You have to go hire a 3-4 scheme defensive coordinator. I don't know who that would be, but it'll be interesting to think about that over Christmas break as well. And we'll come back. We got the 3-minute drill with me and Sam, and we'll do that after a short pause. Well, now it's time for the 3-minute drill, and that's 3 questions, about a minute and a half each today. Take it away, Sam.
All right, Ron, 4 college football games in the first round of the CFP. Alabama comes from behind to beat Oklahoma 34-24. The small schools, James Madison and Tulane, could not hang with Oregon and Ole Miss. And Miami outlasts Texas A&M in about the ugliest college football game I've ever seen, 10-3. Your reaction to the first round games?
So I think some of the teams that weren't in it should be in it. Notre Dame should have been in it. It's clear when you look at those games. And sorry, not the 3-minute drill, people. It's the daily 3. I'm confusing segments. But when you look at the the college football playoffs, it's clear like James Madison and Tulane should not have been in it. Like I totally understand what they're trying to do. I understand what their purpose is. But it just didn't work. Like it's not working the way they thought it was going to work. And like the other games are good. The one thing I like is what Dan Lanning said is like the way this is set up is stupid. Like it should be back to back weeks. Like you should just play like a normal football season. They're spreading this thing out for money so that they can get these bowl games and different sites set up and all this other back to back weeks. He said just do it at the highest seed hosts it, and that's it. The only thing that needs to be neutral is the Final Four. That's it. Treat it like basketball. But the other games, just make them continuations of the season. Those teams earn the right to have a home game because they are the higher seed. They should host it. You come to their house. Their fans get to sell it out. You get a bigger, you do get a true home field advantage for the team with the better record and better ranking. I just the way it looks at it with Tulane and James Madison, Notre Dame for sure would have put up a better fight and probably won potentially that game. Like it's just, I don't understand the whole purpose of this of like fair play and we're voting we're giving these other teams a chance. They don't deserve a chance. They are where they are because of who they are. Like they're not going to beat one of these teams. And so we're not going to get a Boise State beating Oklahoma. Like it's not going to happen. Like they want it to happen. The money, if this were football of old, Sam, where there was no NIL, I would say fine. But the new football, it just doesn't work. So I think it was cool, but I just think it's too spread out for me. Like, I'm not even that invested in it because it's like I don't even know when the next games are. It's too spread out. I was hoping for every Saturday I can see this thing play out, and then we get to January, whatever, championship, done. I don't know, but what do you think?
Yeah, I think if you're gonna give a smaller conference school a bid, they've got to be undefeated. Like you could look pretty obviously and figure out that, okay, when Tulane and James Madison had to play legit teams, they couldn't hang in the regular season. So why are we trying this again? Alabama, Indiana is going to be fantastic in the next round. So I think the committee's justified putting Alabama through because it sets up an awesome matchup now with Signetti. Next up, Ron, more college football. The biggest game of all of them. I mean, I don't know how we haven't talked about this yet. Give me your prediction. Gophers in New Mexico. Will the Gophers stay unbeaten in bowl games with PJ Fleck?
Yes, they will. New Mexico is good. I think when they run the ball for 80 plus yards, they're 9-0. So they are a run the ball team. They kind of hit on the run. They want to kind of slow the game down and then play the play action, right? The defensive line can't rush the quarterback and pin their ears back if they don't know, if they don't understand what's coming, if it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2. So the Gophers have to stop the run. Like if they stop the run and they have Anthony Smith, like, you got Carter Mims. Carter Coughlin's gone. But you got Carter Mims, you got Jackson Howard. So you do got some really big, 5 techniques and outside, rush ins. You got to hold the edge. It starts with those 3 guys. Those 3 guys are going to be the key to this. I mean, you got Maverick Baranowski, of course. Linebackers got to come fill these gaps. Coy Parrish has to come down in the hole and make tackles. They're going to force the safeties to be tacklers this game, right? And that's where I don't know if that's the Gopher strength. Is their safeties tackling? Their safeties covering the back end is definitely a strength, but safeties tackling is not a true strength. I mean, I think they're good tacklers. I wouldn't say they're the best. So that's the only way New Mexico is really going to have a chance is if they can get to that second level and really drain the clock and don't allow Drake Lindsey to have too many possessions. But I just think this defense is going to smother them. Their defensive line is stronger, in my opinion, and more powerful than New Mexico. And just like any other big team that would show up to play New Mexico, it's going to be a win.
Yep. Let's see if Darius Taylor can get going. New Mexico likes to stop the run, get Taylor going. That'll help get Lindsey going. The game is being played in a baseball stadium, Ron.
Yep. I've been to that game before because we went to Arizona a couple years ago when they were in that bowl game, and my wife and I went down there. It's a very unique Diamondbacks stadium, but some of the seats are definitely horrible seats because you're so far away from the field because of the way the outfield is put together and then the way the field is lined up. It's kind of a weird setup. So it's one of those corners that you're like super far away. Even though you feel like you have a corner spot and you're like 3rd, 4th row, you're still far away. It's Arizona. It's nice. You get to go to Camelback Mountain and if you want to sightsee and do all that stuff and go to the nice big mall. Me and my wife, we saw the Suns game. We were down there last time. Phoenix Suns had a game. So my wife just was like, hey, do we want to go to a game? Yeah, let's go. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I used the Game Time app. So it's kind of a cool experience down there. So I know the guys are loving the weather compared to here.
All right, last one, Ron. The T-Wolves had an epic win on Friday against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Anthony Edwards went off at the end. They beat the Thunder for just the 3rd time this year that anyone's beat them. Does that put the Wolves alongside the Thunder or close to them, Ron, in the contender conversation?
So when you look at record, right, 26-3. It's kind of tough to say they're there. Like, you're 26-3, you're talking about a 19-10 team to a 26-3 team. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? He's just doing his thing, right? He's just doing his thing. There's nothing you can do to stop what he's figured out, right? He's figured out the referees are going to give him a lot of calls if he flails and if he throws his body around. It's just one of those things where they're on a roll right now. So no, I would not put them in the contender conversation with the Thunder. Yeah, they beat them, but could they beat them 4 games in a row, right? Or 4 games, period. You'd have to beat them 4 games, and that's right now is hard to do. And nobody's figured out how to really truly just beat them. You're going to get them once, but that's why they play 7 games, and basketball doesn't do like the NCAA. Which, like, if the NBA ever did an NCAA type of format where everybody makes it, that would be awesome. Like, just do everybody makes it, and we're going to do brackets, and one plays 16, and boom, and we're just going to go and win. It's one game. You got to play your best game, and then let's see who the champion is. If the NBA ever did something like that, like the Commanders Cup, or whatever, they do it that way. If they did the cup like that, I guarantee people will want to see that. NBA bracketology. Oh my goodness. Just because it would just be in the middle of the season. It would be one game. And then like after you lose, those losers play to make sure everybody's records, are playing the same amount of games. So like if you're whatever your 4 box, the winners move on, losers play, and then so on and so forth. So there's a losers bracket that goes this way. So people continue to play games. And then the winners just keep going. And then you get a champion. If that was the case, I would say yes, the Timberwolves have just as good of a chance as the Thunder. But 7 games, it's tough for me. But Anthony Edwards is continuing to show he is one of the best players in the league, but Shea is just on a different level. Like it's amazing the amount of foul calls he gets. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I mean, we saw last year the Timberwolves split the season series with Oklahoma City last year. I think we got a little excited. Hey, the Wolves can hang. And then the playoffs was just a different story. You're right. The length of the series with their talent and defense, gonna be tough. The
West is gonna be tough, period, though. Like when you look at the Rockets, you got the Lakers, you got the Nuggets, you got the Spurs. And the Lakers, I say the Lakers like with asterisks, or sorry, air quotes. And the only reason is because you don't know which LeBron you're gonna get down the stretch. Like he's old, and that's 82 games. I mean, I know he's on load management stuff, and it's a lot more protect, but this is more of a and then can Luka, can he stay healthy? Can that back hold up an entire season? But when you look at the Rockets, I would say Suns. Like I watched the Warriors the other night. They're okay. They're not great. Steph's still hitting deep threes, but I just feel like if he's off, they're not good. And that's the tough thing. When you live by the 3, you die by the 3. But that top 4 or that top 3, Nuggets, Spurs, Thunder, Timberwolves got a tough stretch to try to win it this year.
Yeah, it feels like the middle of the conference isn't as good as last year. We were talking about good teams being in 10th or 11th. This year, you've actually got some kind of poor teams sneaking into that play-in range. Wolves might be battling for, trying to get home court, get that 4 seed, but they seem fairly comfortable right now in the top 6. It's all going to be about who's playing their best in the playoffs. And the Timberwolves have proven that they're a good playoff team. So, again, I like them. I like this Wolves team a lot. There's just one team that's just head and shoulders better than everybody else that's going to be the big bump in the road.
Yeah, and that's the Thunder. I mean, and because like you look at the East, if you were to put the Timberwolves in the East, I'd say they'd be up there. But who would imagine the Pistons would be number 1?
Crazy.
My Crazy. Detroit Pistons. And it's funny, like the Lions fall down and the Pistons bring the city back up. Because the Lions were carrying the city for a while, and you got Jay Ivey's back healthy, Kate Cunningham's back healthy. So, man, that's crazy. Like, because again, Jay Ivey had all these guys, and then all of a sudden they're like, man, these guys are hurt, they're injured, or whatever. Everybody's healthy. Pistons look good, and again, they only lose 6 games. You just got to keep stacking it. If you can end up only losing like 15, 16 games in a season, Pistons have it, right? That's the name of the game. Just keep winning the games you're supposed to win and then split with the rest, and they're doing that. So, but I'm Ron Johnson. That's Sam Ekstrom. I want to thank you guys for joining us today on the Ron Johnson Show. Make sure you guys check out our squad shows daily with Arif Hassan, Luke Inman, Luke Braun, and Sam Ekstrom. I'm going to join them. I don't know if this Thursday because it's Christmas. So I want to thank everybody who's continued to watch, listen, download, tell somebody that we're here. We thank you guys. Make sure you subscribe to Locked On Sports Minnesota on YouTube so you can see our squad shows and, of course, our postcast after every Vikings and Gophers game. Well, thank you guys. Have a great holiday.